Hey everyone, this is Chef. Welcome back to Uma, and today I think we're gonna fit in CM prep. I really don't know where I'm going to schedule it around Racing Carnival going on, so I think I'm just gonna do it now, and we're gonna figure out where we go from there. So, where we always start with champions meetings is we start by looking at the track map, so that we can figure out basic conditions, we can figure out layout of the track, we can start to think about what uniques are good, and what uniques aren't good. So let's head over to Umulator and take a look at what we're working with. So here we are on Umulator with Capricorn Cup selected. That is the upcoming CM track. We can see that it is Chukyo 1200 meters, soft terrain, in winter, with no stat thresholds. So unlike Sagittarius, we don't need to worry about hitting a guts cap. We don't need to worry about hitting a stamina cap. There's no stamina caps that we need here beyond what we need to finish a race. And a 1200-meter race is a longer sprint, and a soft track is more stamina taxing, but almost the entirety of this course is a downhill. And downhills preserve your stamina. So if we set up a quick comparison here, we give this runner 300 stamina, and we put them as a pace chaser. We give them a fairly normal 400 guts. We run a compare. We can see that it's pretty close to about the same thing. Our mean is 0, our median is 0. If we drop to 250, we start to see a little difference, and if we drop to 200, we're going to see a fairly large difference. It's still not even that bad. If we drop to 150, we start to see a little bit of a gap, but I don't really know how you're going to build a runner that only has 150 stamina. I think that's fairly difficult to do. So that's our stamina target. Our stamina target is basically as low as possible while still being able to finish a career. And then the other thing that we want to think about is what skills are good for late race. When do we want our acceleration to kick in to reach the end of the course? And something interesting happens on short tracks. So this is the point where our acceleration starts. This is the start of the final leg at 800 meters. The entirety of the final leg is on a straight, and there are no corners in late race, which means that most corner acceleration skills for frontrunners, things like redshift and things like shooting for victory, are either going to be very bad or do outright nothing, and skills like angling and scheming, which require any corner in late race, are simply not going to activate. So this is a fairly difficult track for frontrunners and for corner acceleration to work successfully. Now we're going to explore some workarounds to that because I think that frontrunners are probably still fine, but I think it's worth noting. The two skills that we do want to keep our eye on the other hand, the two good inherited skills are Victoria por Plancha, which is El Condor Pasa's 3-star. We also want to keep an eye on Give Mummy a Hug, which is Halloween Super Creeks. So if we run this comparison, we can see that Victoria por Plancha is hitting here exactly at the start of late race, which is right where we want our acceleration to be. And if we check the conditions, we have is final corner equals 1, which checks whether you are on or beyond the final corner in the race. Corner equals 0 is whether you are on a straight or not. So this checks whether you're on a straight after the final corner in the race. The remaining HP that you have must be greater than or equal to 30%, and you must be second or first. And if that's true, you get target speed, and you get acceleration. Give Mummy a Hug, on the other hand, has the same criteria, is final corner and corner equals 0. Your order must be less than or equal to 4, which means you have to be 4th or better, which is less restrictive than Victoria, and you must have somebody within 1 length in front of you. And if that's true, you get the same thing. So these are the two big skills that people are going to be chasing in terms of getting your acceleration to trigger in late race. These are also probably the two skills that we're going to target when we build our runner, but again, we can get into what our specific plan is going to be. But the first thing that we should look at is how much acceleration actually matters on this track. So if you look at your late race start here at 800 meters, you can see this velocity curve slowly going up until it stops at around 1092, 1093 meters. That's the point where you're done accelerating and you spend the rest of the race at your max speed. The Chukyo is only 1200 meters. So by the time you get to your max speed, you're only spending 100 meters or so at that max velocity. On the other hand, you've spent close to 300 meters in the acceleration phase, which is around a quarter of the entire race. And if we look at Sagittarius, on the other hand, we reset our other runner to 1200 so they actually have enough stamina to finish. Look at how much shorter this acceleration phase is. Acceleration phase starts at 1700. It's done by 1900. That's only around 200 of the 2500 meters on this course. So what that means in terms of our priorities is that acceleration is much more important, and correspondingly power is much more important, because you spend a greater proportion of time accelerating on the Chukyo track. So if we take this comparison, these two runners are exactly the same. We drop this runner down to distance A instead of distance S. It generates a difference of around 0.3 lengths in terms of a finishing position. And historically, we've said, distance S, pretty good. On the other hand, if we flip this, and we instead give you surface S, and we give both of you distance S, the difference is 0.65. Surface is a much stronger spark to have on this CM because there's a greater period of time that you spend accelerating. And this also means that acceleration is more important to get you to the finish line faster. That is something that is going to pull us more towards late surgers because they have better access to acceleration skills than most other runners do. So in terms of what runners we're actually going to try and build, I'm actually going to make a little bit of a meta call. I've been following a little bit of discussion around what people think is good for Capricorn, and what most people have landed on is running pace chasers, like El Condor Pasa herself, but also Air Groove, and also Pace Bakushin, but then also giving them some of these greedy uniques, like Victoria per Plancha, which requires you to be in second place for it to go off, and also give Mummy a hug, which requires you to be a fourth or better. What I think is that if we run a pair of front runners, even though we don't have good acceleration skills for them, they might spend enough time at the front by the time we get to late race that they can deny activation of some of these skills, which would then free us up to run a late surger, something like King Halo, who can actually go ahead and win the race. So I think that's what our strategy is going to be. And I would also normally at this point pull up the stat spreadsheet that would let us figure out how many stats we can budget for running an open league, but I think we might give graded league a try this time. When we were first recording the Sagittarius video, I was saying that I think your breakpoint for when you should move from open into graded is when you start to consistently produce A+ runners. And if we go and look at our team trials scores over here, we can see that we have some A+ runners. I wouldn't say that we're necessarily consistent, but we've made an A+ El Condor Passat, we've made an A+ Taiki Shuttle. We have a mile deck dialed in, and I think we can also get a sprint deck dialed in. So what my goal is going to be today is building a sprint frontrunner Bakushin, and we are going to see how close we can get to that A+ target. If I see something around 13,500, I think that's a pretty good indication for me that we should be in graded. But if we struggle to break 3,000 or maybe even 12,500, we might do one more open league race just so that we can have an easier time of building a competitive runner. So as far as inheritances go, we're ignoring Racing Carnival today because Racing Carnival isn't going to help us do anything. We've established that turf sparks are more important than sprint sparks for building a well-performing runner. We also actively do not want stamina sparks. Any stamina on this runner is going to be wasted, so we need to avoid that at all costs. And this is also why I was trying to put together that beautiful turf parent that didn't quite turn out last time, because that would be a perfect parent for running in this CM. But we don't have that. So what we may end up using instead is either this Matikane because we have 2 turf sparks, we have no stamina sparks, and we have a pretty decent chunk of power and speed on it. Or we might end up using this Haru Urara, because we have sprint sparks. Mile sparks are just going to help us get through career a little easier. And again, we have a decent chunk of power. We don't need Mile Corner, Slick Surge, or Nimble Nav. Corner Edup's okay. We don't need Mile Corner, Slick Surge, Nimble Nav here. So I'm slightly pulled towards running this Matikane. And then in our guest legacies, we want something very specific. We want a 9-star turf, 9-star power. We do not have that. So we're going to be going to Umamusume, and we are going to be finding a 9 turf, 9 power, El Condor Pasao, or Halloween Creek parent. Alright, we're back, and I think we found the one. You can see that I needed to relax my criteria a little bit. We're looking for 8-star power now, and we're looking for 7-star turf. There's actually nothing if we go 9-9. Not just for Creek, but for El Condor Pasao as well. But on the other hand, check this parent out. We have 8-star turf, 7-star power, 2-star Give Mommy a Hug. We have left-handed, when Chukyo is a left-handed track. We have Ignited Spirit Power, which is actually a very good acceleration skill. We also have hints for the Duty of Dignity Calls, which is quite good on this track. It is a front-runner velocity skill that triggers in a corner in mid-race, for this track anyway, which means that this is a skill that is going to help us hang on to our lead and make sure that we don't get passed going into late race, so that we can deny other activations for as long as possible. 60 affinity is a little low, but this is the one. This is a perfect parent for what we want to do. So we're going to copy that ID. We are going to go and put them in game. And we are going to hope that our Matikane's affinity is high enough that we can go to double circle for even better inheritance events. Because we are looking for some very specific stuff on this run. We will follow you. I am so glad that your friends list is not full. I think that Creek is perfect for what we want to do. Where are you? Show me power 2 or better. Show me turf 2 or better. There you are. Single circle, we'll live with it. So this is going to be the inheritances. I wish that our inheritances were a little better so that we could pull power up even further, but speed isn't that bad. And we do have a ton of turf sparks here. We have no way of getting Sprint S, but I just don't think that Sprint S is going to be that valuable for this CM specifically. I think this inheritance is about as good as we can do. And then as far as deck goes, Bakushin has 20% growth in speed, 10% growth in wit. And we do not need stamina at all. We just don't need stamina, period. So we're going to run 3 speed, because I really want to make sure that we actually hit cap. And we're also going to run 3 wit. But this is going to be a little different from the ways that we've used our wit cards previously. Because previously we've been fine with our wit cards being a little nomadic, wandering around here and there. This time we want our wit cards to build stats. So we actually want cards that are relatively high on specialty priority for wit. And we also want something very specific from Marvelous Sunday. We want hesitant frontrunners, and we want hesitant pace chasers. This is a CM that is going to be very heavy on pace chasers. That's going to be most people following the meta. And then I think there's going to be a decent share of people who are using frontrunners, people who are trying to counter the meta, like we are. So if we bring these 2 debuff skills, even though we're not bringing a debuffer, there is no way that you can build to avoid losing velocity. For stuff like stamina, you saw the stamina caps on this track. Stamina doesn't matter. There's going to be people coming in with 350, 400 stamina, because that's just how much they're getting over the normal course of a run. You can't debuff all that away. They're going to finish the race regardless. But you can only get 1200 speed, and then you're at cap. So if you debuff somebody at 1200 speed, you always generate an advantage for your own runner. And that's what we're going to be trying to do. We are extremely fortunate that we have max limit break or close to max limit break wit cards, because without them, this strategy would not work, and we would probably be relegated to Open League. So we're going to try this, and we're going to see how well it goes. Kita-san is our fairly standard Baro for stats. Biko is here for Plan X specifically. This is one of those cases where Plan X is actually going to be a halfway decent acceleration skill for us, and we'll be happy to have it. And then we also just have Vodka's here as a max limit break speed card. This could potentially be Tokai Teo. The CM track is covered in straights at the end of the race, so we could get a lucky Rushing Gale proc and actually extract some acceleration out of that. And if we find that we're capping speed reliably, it's something we may try. But I think given that we have a 0 limit break Biko, and we're not inheriting any speed from our parents, we're probably going to need to build with an eye towards speed just to get 2 cap. So let's try this out and see how we do. We'll go ahead and use our event bonus. We will technically get a Racing Carnival spark out of this, but this Bakushin is only going to have like 300, 350 stam at best, so I can't imagine we're going to be using her in any of those races. This is also a good opportunity to talk about a Wit deck, because a Wit deck doesn't really play like a normal deck. For the first couple turns here, we're still going to be taking things that maximize friendship. We're going to be taking power if there's 2 people at it instead of 1. But we spend a lot of time in these videos talking about what an average training looks like, and whether you should take an average training or wait for a better training to show up and just roll on something like Wit. But with a deck that's running 3 Wit cards, once you have friendship unlocked for your Wit cards, you can expect to get a pretty decent chunk of energy back just by rolling on Wit when your other trainings are bad, which means that you can get greedier with your other trainings when they're good, because you have an expectation that some of that energy is going to flow back to you on below average turns. So hopefully over the course of this run, I have a chance to show you what that means and what that looks like. We do have our Unity training unlocked, so we'll start grabbing that. We really, really, really heavily want to prioritize training only speed and only Wit. If there is a great stamina training, we might take it. If there is a great guts training, we might take it. But we only want to be pressing these 2 buttons as much as possible. That is where we need all of our stats to go. We're going to let our sparks take care of our power. We're going to let our speed training take care of our power. And we're also going to let Wit take care of our speed to some extent. So for events like this, Wit plus 10. We don't need the stamina. That's a decent speed training. It works on Biko's friendship, which I like. Let's grab that. And then we'll take a rest here. Speed stam power plus 5. It's okay, but I think I'd rather have the skill points to make sure that I can buy the skills that I want at the end of this run. If it's a great Wit training, we might take it. It's not great enough, we rest. It's an unfortunate plus 30. That is a fortunate plus 30. We're right back in it. It's also a perfectly fine Wit training. The sooner we get our Wit cards to gold, the better. It's just going to let us take more aggressive trainings on other stats. This is a case where power is maybe marginally better because Rico's there, but it wastes 6 stamina on stamina, and I don't want to do that, so we're taking speed. The way that it prioritizes our stats is marginally better. We'll take 20 energy out of that. That'll let us keep training for a while. That's a beautiful speed training. I love everything happening there. Two, 1, 1. It's fine as a speed training. It works on Biko's friendship, which we know is going to be an obstacle that we need to work on. As far as skills go, we definitely don't need recovery. We don't really care about any of the rest of those. Let's just hop into race. We will be front. The only thing that can stop us is late start. Even then, we might simply outrun it. And then we are going to put all of the weight of this run on the 400 bonus stamina that you get for being in a career. We're going to aim to go into the finals at around 200. We'll take a wit here just because it works on friendships. The power training was fine, but I don't really want to be training power. Fast learner's huge. Okay. This could be the run. I would love to have a hint on Biko. Not only does she have sprint hints, but it also builds friendship faster. I don't need a hint for Nakayama, so we take guts and skill points here. If anything, we would be looking for Chukyo hints, but all of the track type hints are stamina related, and we don't need the stamina. Also, all of these trainings are bad, so we'll just take a rest. It's a middling wit. It's also a middling guts. It's a pretty bad speed, though. I think I take this guts training. So here's the thing about guts, right? Guts reduces your stamina drain at the end of the race, and we did plan on having around 400 of it, so technically that matters for our calculations. But Guts is also kind of a convenient way to train power without training stamina. So while I would much rather hit wit or speed, I'd rather train Guts than power, because power pulls up stamina, and Guts doesn't. So in addition to this just being good for getting our wit cards closer to gold friendship, and in this case actually putting Matikane to gold friendship off of the hint, Guts training is okay if you're thinking about being a sprinter. It's not a stamina training we take, it's not an anything we take. I think this is okay for power. It works on 2 of our core speed cards. We'll get a little extra power out of Etsuko, and it's unfortunate that we get +7 stamina out of it, but that's life. It's better to level all of our facilities, even if we have to take a slightly suboptimal training to do it. But like this, on the other hand, I don't need this much stamina, and I really don't want this much friendship growth by taking stamina to do it. This is basically the same thing as passing a turn. We're just going to take wit on Biko. It's going to put her to burst, it's going to build her friendship. That's how aggressively I am not taking stamina on this run. We'll take no stopping me, because there's not anything better to name our team. Pretty bad stam training. Not really where I want to burst ideally. I'd much rather burst on wit, and I think the speed training is good enough that I can justify skipping a burst on guts. We don't have a ton of time left until the first Unity Cup round, but we can find an opportunity. It's a pretty brutal energy loss. We're probably going to have to rest here. I'd love to take that power training, but that's going to be a rest. Maybe it's for the best that we don't take it, because it also builds our stamina. We've got Gap Closer. Gap Closer is not something we're going to use because we're not going to be towards the back late race. Lucky 7, depending on how many stat points we end up with, might be something that we buy. Just because there's not going to be anything else valuable going on. But it's real far down on my list of things that I care about. There's our first G2 win. And then we do have our eye on either of the mild G1s in early December. It's a good source of skill points, it's a good source of fans. A burst on speed is exactly where we want a burst to go. So let's lock that in. Mile straightaways, not what we're looking for. Can I afford to race today? That is the question. I can. Power training's okay, but it's not amazing. Wit training's okay, but it's not amazing. We can run a race today. Let's start building our skill points. Let's also take the higher fan race. We didn't start this career to frick around and farm banners. We came to win. No. So far, so good. So if I take -15 here, I actually think I can wit safely on the last turn. If I take -20, I think that becomes dicier. I'm actually going to take a guaranteed loss here. because we know we have energy recovery coming up soon. Sometimes you gamble and lose, man. 27%. So a 1 in 3 that we failed is basically. The upside is that it works on all of our friendships and gives us close to 30 speed. I take those. That's okay. We took a gamble and we lost, but we took a gamble for a principled reason. There wasn't anything else we were doing on that turn except for resting anyway, and we're about to get some free energy out of the New Year's, so we might as well give it a shot. This does not look good. This looks like F's across the board except for Biko, who we burst on. That's about the prediction I would expect. This is going to be a run where we take middle and then we go top from here on out. Oh, if that speed training hit, man, we'd be living. We'd be living. But it's okay. We can recover from that. The rest of the RNG in the run might be good enough to compensate. We don't know until we get through it. So we do need to fix our mood here at some point. Although I guess we have some like Kita-san events in our deck that could still fire. We haven't hit the second event in the chain that gives us the 10 energy and the mood up. I don't love that Guts. I don't think it does enough for us. Like, it pushes Vodka into gold territory, but I don't think that's that important. This could be a recreation turn. Let's just fix our mood now. Then I don't have to worry about waiting for Kita-san to show up. Dude, I gotta stop talking so much in these videos. It'll still take the 10 energy out of it. Oh, you know, at least you got 20 energy out of the recreation so that I can feel a little better about myself. But that's still really funny. This is a fine wit to take, I think. I like that it works on Arden's friendship. This is like an okay spirit training. It does put Kita-san to burst. This is an okay speed training, but it's not as good. I think I just like preserving on wit right now. Let's get Vodka to gold friendship locked in. We do not need to gamble on this. We'll just take plus 10. Rainbow Wit. I don't really want to do a Rainbow Wit right now. It does work on Biko, though. This is where you start to play around your average odds of getting a Rainbow Wit training. So if we take speed here, it knocks our energy down, and it puts Arden to gold friendship. It's a worse training than the Wit, but we're expecting our average wit training to give us energy back, which means we're actually rewarded for having less energy at any given point in the run, because our EV from training wit is higher than usual. Single rainbow speed is not something I'm really that interested in. That's not going to put Kita-san to gold. It's going to put Kita-san close, though. So let's grab, oh, it did put her to gold, okay. I'm wrong. So we have 2 speed cards online. We have 2 wit cards online. There's both my speed cards, and with relevant spirit trainings. Nothing else is looking even close to as good as that. So let's take our speed training. And this is where we start to spend energy relatively aggressively compared to other runs. Because we're going to expect our wit training to start pulling it back up. Ring stakes done. So we could run the Oka show early April, but that's an 1800 mile. Which means that even with our career bonus, it might be a little dicey that we finish it. On the other hand, I don't know where we fit fans in right now. We probably would have to run like G2 sprints. Which we can do, there's several of them. Sprint Spark? Or Turf Spark? No Turf Spark. No hints either. Here's just good energy recovery on a day where all of our other trainings look bad. This is just pure EV. It also puts Vodka and Arden to burst, so I take that over the Oka show, and we'll just keep an eye out for G2 sprints. We should actually book some G2 sprints in right now so that I know where they are. And Charming, holy cow, the RNG. Turf Mile we could book in. It's a 1600. We know we can finish those. Yasuda Keenan we can book in. It's a 1600. We know we can finish those. There is a 1200 early September. 1800 mile I'm going to skip on, but there's a 1400 sprint late October. There is nothing November early. There's the Mile Championship November late. And then there's one more sprint December late. Yeah, the Hunchin Cup. So these are all the races we want to keep our eye on. Not only because we want to hit fan threshold to level our unique up, but also because we're expecting to get energy back from our wit trainings, which means that on a day with a below average training and no rainbow on wit, we're kind of incentivized to go and race, because it might give us some decent skill hints. This, on the other hand, is probably just going to be a wit straight up. I don't want to burst on guts. We're obviously not bursting on stamina, even though that's a really, really good training. So we're just taking wit tree cover energy. Every time we do this, we're getting like a quarter of a rest. More energy recovery. So we can run the NHK Mile Cup today. I think I would rather consume a burst on speed than do that. We run the AoE stakes next turn. Productive plan's a mile skill. We're not going to be using that. Let's go knock this out. We have the option of running the Yasudakina in early June, and then we could still rest late June if we wanted to. Okay. How we looking? Single rainbow speed. It's not amazing. Single unity training wit. Not amazing. Single unity training power. Not amazing. Burst on stamina. Not even a consideration. Let's go run a G1. Good. I think an 1800 mile might be a little out of our reach, but a 1600 mile is the sweet spot right now. I will take 10 energy back. Wish you were a burst on wit. Oh, I really do. I think this might be a rest, honestly. I do want to work on Biko's friendship. I think that's a problem, but I would rather... I was banking on that being like a single or double rainbow wit training, because then we get like 10 energy back. We go into summer break, where we're actually expecting to train wit for like stats reasons, and not just for like energy management reasons. We could have trained 4 times. I had it all lined up in my head, and then it all fell apart. So we'll just take the rest instead. We're also taking top option every time from now on. I need my stats for Zenith. Close, but we're in there. And then show me some good summer break turns. Start me off with a double rainbow speed so I can put myself in an energy hole. No, no. Maybe. You know, it's not horrible. I do want to get Sunday to gold friendship as well. There's a lot of spirit training there. Oh yeah. Anything else better? Sunday friendship, but summer break, I don't think it's worth it to burn on training that bad. So give me some energy back. Good. Give me a lot of energy back and friendship progress. Good. That's a beautiful place to burst. Pace Chaser corners, we're not doing that. This isn't a pace Bakushin run, this is a front Bakushin run. Burst on stamina, not interested. I don't want to spend on power here though, but it is technically spirit training for Sunday. I don't want to spend on this power, or on that speed. You could also just take wit here. You could scorn power training so heavily that you just take wit. Yeah, we could do that. The problem with that strategy is if we see a good rainbow wit training next turn, we're going to waste some energy. But that's not the worst thing in the world, all things considered. We also might just run a race next turn. Yeah, like, that's pretty unfortunate. We're still going to take it, because it's 31 wit, and we need to get to 1200. It's just like a good training stats-wise, but that was why I didn't want my energy to be too high. We've now lost we've lost like net energy. We've lost imaginary energy, and we're never going to get it back. The bright side, these stats are looking real good for where we're at in the run. I think we're going to cap speed no problem, as long as our training like doesn't fall apart at the end of the year. I think our power's probably going to get pretty close to 1,000. We don't need a Nibble Navigator hint, we don't care, so we take power. And I think our wit is okay. I don't think we're on a trajectory for 1,200 wit, but that could change if these rainbow wits keep lining up. Again, I wish that I was coming out of summer break at like 30 energy, because I would be getting so much out of these double rainbow wit trainings. A burst on speed is exactly what we want, so we're not going to run the Swan Stakes. This is pushing us towards really prioritizing Mile Championship Hanshin Cup. Although we should be okay on fan count right now. We're okay, we're at 74. Triple Rainbow Wit is exactly what we want. Look at the energy recovery. It's most of our rest, and we also get stats out of it. Single Rainbow Wit that pushes Bakushin to gold, or Biko to gold versus double Rainbow Speed. We have to take the double Rainbow Speed. Thank goodness that we ran those races early, so that we don't feel pressured to run them now. Oh, thank you so much. Take the speed again. This is perfect. We're going to go into senior year on super low energy, and then we can just wit our way back up. Show me another double rainbow speed. Single rainbow speed? Honestly, I'll take it. Single rainbow of Marvelous Sunday there, I think is still fine. I don't feel nearly as pressured to run a G2, because our fan count is doing fine. We should be looking like a pretty scary team right now. Mostly Cs. Prediction slowly getting better. Just hang it in there. A 3-2 and a 5-0 are exactly the same mechanically. And then let's also, the way we did last year, book in all of the potential G1s and G2s we might want to run. These, I don't know as well. 1800, we skip that. It's a medium, we skip that. We're already running the Takamatsu no Maya. There's a 1600 mile. Book you in. There's a 1600 mile, we'll book you in. Victoria Mile, we'll book in. Yasuda Kinan again, we'll book in. It's a G1, why not? Swan Stakes, we can book in again. And then Hanshin Cup, we can book in again. We're not necessarily going to run all of those, but we would like to run a few of them. That's not a bad power training. I like that it pushes Biko to gold, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. I'll dunk a little bit of stats on stamina to take that. Just because I don't know when my next opportunity to get Biko to gold is going to be. Carrot's fine. It's no bonus stats, but it's fine. This is our Plan X hint. That is a skill that we will use. Single Rainbow Speed is not quite good enough to make me want to take it. I think this is just a wit, even though there's nobody here. I can be a little more discerning with my speed trainings than that. Target Insight is also probably not something we're going to buy. I'm pretty sure the number one favorite in most of the CM lobbies is going to be a Pace Chaser. Triple speed. Okay, hold on. Hold on. We failed a training this round, by the way. I don't know if anybody remembers that far back, but... hold everything. Something is happening right now. Mood 1, speed 10. I feel like I could do anything right now. Give me 5 speed, 5 wit. No? Alright, that's fine. I'll still take 10 wit anyway. And then we get a burst on wit to recover our energy. This is exactly why we're spending aggressively on speed. Because we know the Winter Runner. Because we know that Wit is going to pull us back up. This is a potentially really scary Bakushin. Double rainbow speed. Our speed is actually getting so high that we might cap it early. Now, is it so high that I'm going to take like a hint from Matikane? No, because I don't need any of this. But it is something to keep an eye on. We may actually want to draw down on aggressively speed training here and start focusing on Wit, because Wit is going to pull speed up anyway. That's interesting. Let's go get a goal race out of the way. Good. We could also race pretty aggressively on this schedule. We're looking pretty good right now, though. I would love to see Turf S. Turf S would make my whole night. Ramp up Stamina Eater is not quite what we were looking for. It's pretty far from what we were looking for. Still, though, I'm really pleased with how this deck is working right now. Let's take a look first. Because if this is a good Rainbow Wit, it's an okay Rainbow Wit. Wit is only at 600. I think if I see a single Rainbow on Wit or better, I actually have to take the Wit instead of racing. Otherwise, I'm not going to get it to 1200. And if you're wondering why do you care so much about... Chiki is a left-handed track, so we don't need right-handed at all. If it was right-handed, that would be a case where I gamble on that event, but it's not, so we don't. If you're wondering why I care so much about Wit, when previously we've said, you know, Wit caps at 600, you don't need it. It doesn't really do anything productive for skill activations after that, don't worry about it. Wit actually also helps with your mid-race velocity. So because we're going to cap speed, and because we don't want to train power, and because we don't need stamina, and because we don't need guts, after speed gets to cap, Wit is actually the best stat that we have for improving the velocity of our runner. And that's true even if you're making like a long runner. But the thing is, if you're making a long runner, you need like speed and stamina capped. And you just don't have enough stats left over to get Wit to cap as well. But in this case, for a very short distance runner, it's actively something that we want to improve. This is 2 runners going to Spirit Burst. We skipped the Victoria Mile for that, in addition to the energy recovery. Not very good. Also not very good, but we'll probably still take it if nothing is better. There's not a... There's 0 races today. Yeah, we just take a Wit that has decent spirit training options on it. It recovers energy, it builds stats. I'd like to try and avoid running the Yasuda if possible, because it's going to do weird things to our energy. And we do have a Rainbow Wit training. Yeah, I guess we take the Rainbow Wit training. I don't feel super pressured to run races right now. Like, we'll see how our skill points play out at the end of the run, but we did a lot of extra races in Classic Year. And I think that should be enough to carry us through. We can also Give Mummy a Hug now. It's not getting any cheaper. Anything else in here that's maxed that we can just buy and get off the table? No. Okay. We'll just book in Give Mummy a Hug then, because we know we're going to want that. We do need a runner in front of us for that to trigger, but if we get past in late race, we can activate it, and it can help us hang on to the lead. And I do expect to get past in late race, because eventually Pace Chaser Velocity is going to take over. It's possible that we could also use L as a parent here, though, because hers would be more reliable on a front runner. We might fiddle around on Umamusume after this and see if we can find a good L parent as well. So this should be the win that takes us to 5. Good. And now all we have to do is clear Zenith. We have 3 turns in Spring Break, and we're at full energy, so we can train all 3 turns on speed if we want to. We may also, if wit training is bad, start thinking about training guts. Because we want to spend our energy on trainings so that we can recover it with wit. We don't mind having guts be a little high, because it does marginally improve our velocity in late race. And it also trains power. So it's a roundabout way to get power up without sinking stats into stamina as well. There's reasons for it. We'll see if we have to use any of those reasons, though. All of these trainings are horrendous. I'll just take wit. I don't want to spend energy on anything. A Biko hint. I don't really care about any of those, but I'll take the speed, because that's going to put us at 1,000. If we come into the finals at like 1120, we're guaranteed to cap it. So we only need 120 more speed. We only need 60 more speed. And I think just training wit is going to take care of most of that 60. So we never need to touch speed ever again for this run. If I had like 1 or 2 extra limit breaks on Biko, I bet I could get away with a 2 speed deck. I don't think that I can do it with 0 limit break Biko because she does not rainbow until it's so late in the run. But it's something to think about. Was that a goal race? Yeah, it was a goal race. Okay. So I was like, I didn't even look at trainings that turn. I hope they weren't good, but we didn't have the option to look at trainings that turn. This is also a goal race. I'm locked in now. I'm paying attention. I got distracted by thinking about my deck. I'm back. There's curvature too. Odds are high to get that, but it's not technically a guarantee, so it's nice to see it. It's going to be a rerun anyway because we didn't get Turf S. If we're going to be going to graded with this runner, we need every single advantage that we can get. So, we're going to have to run this back tomorrow no matter what. And that is what we're going to do tomorrow. I'm just going to coast on Racing Carnival with the runners that we built last time. Oh, I want to use a burst up, but I don't need it on speed, is the thing. Also, is this the guts training you were talking about? No, I don't think it's good enough. I think this is, oddly enough, a rest. We don't need to train speed. We never need to train speed ever again for the rest of this run. Let's put Haru to burst, because that kind of matters. We could still consume that burst. Bursting on guts is probably our best option right now. It's either guts or wit that we want to burst on. Sprint straightaways, good. Ignited spirit speed, okay. We still could use a little bit of luck in these last few turns. But we're looking pretty good. In terms of figuring out, like, ooh, that's very nice. In terms of figuring out what the average performance of this deck looks like. This isn't going to be a CM runner. There's not enough that went right, but I want to know around where this deck lands. We don't need speed training. I don't really care about Biko's hints. How greedy is it to run a race on the last turn of the game? I guess it's not that greedy. And if we hit a mood up from this, oh, we're loving life. If this mood ups, holy cow. Oh. Let's go. Okay, that's 10% bonus stats on our last 3 turns. That matters. Zenith is looking okay. We could move Kita-san to medium, and we could move Daiwa to, or Vodka to mile. Vodka, you come to mile. Kita-san, you come over here to medium. And then we've got a B runner on each of those 3 categories. Sam's only 5'11". That's actually kind of dicey. Well, 5'09 is not much better. 462, you should definitely be on miles. I think that's probably the best we can do. So we'll see if it's good enough. Prediction doesn't look that devastating, but prediction can be deceiving. Prediction was not deceiving. That's an extra 8 stats at the end of the run. We're not going to buy Nimble Nav, so it doesn't matter. But the stats are nice. And then here's our last 3 turns. One of them is going to be Wit for sure. So we don't have to worry about not coming in at perfect energy. All of these are quite bad, which means I'm probably going to take Guts instead of Wit, because, I don't know, Etsuko's there and we get 2 skill points out of it. We actually might come in a little under my stamina and Guts targets. We should double check this on Uma later after the race is done to make sure that we actually can finish the race, because we massively undercut our stamina. We're going to finish at like 200 even. But we're going to be 100 under Guts. Another left-handed hint. Sick. Actually, maybe our first left-handed hint? No, we got left... No, it was our first left-handed hint. Holy cow. No, have discipline. It could get cheaper. I'm fine bursting on Wit here to make our last training guaranteed to succeed. Dude, if she was Turf S, man, we might have nailed it on the first run. But we're gonna send this deck back for sure. It's also gonna be our first time capping speed, but like, when you're running 3 speed, 3 wit, it's kind of a given. First on Guts, huh? Hey, we have to use it up. We're not really getting anything out of bursting on speed. We're getting marginally more power out of bursting on speed. Actually, that's true. And also, you get a Marvelous Sunday hint here that could become Hesitant Front or Hesitant Pace. You care about that more. Yeah, this is just better for building power, even though it's going to cap speed. Show me. Damn it, where's that Turf S spark? Oh, we had everything. We had everything but Turf S. Hey, we're still gonna, like, if we never see the Turf S spark, we're still gonna keep this runner. It's possible that she winds up being the candidate if the rest of our CM runs don't go great. But this is exactly how we drew it up. Which feels nice, because I feel like the last 3 or 4 runs we've done, my deck building has not really been on point. This deck is on point. It did exactly what we needed it to do. We have 1,500 skill points, so how much can I buy? Let's start with the important stuff. Left-handed, Winter Runner. Professor of Curvature. Sprinting Gear's a little gambly. I think we can skip that for now. Hesitant Pace, Sprint Straightaways, Plan X. Mile, medium, long, front recovery, don't care. United Spirit Speed is cheap, and we still have 600 points to spend. So we can get Straightaway Adept, even though it might trigger in late race and do nothing. We can get Sprinting Gear, even though it might trigger at the start of the race and do nothing. We can get a 2nd rank of Sprint Straightaways. We can get a 2nd rank of Left-Handed, a 2nd rank of Winter Runner. And then I guess we can get Target in Sight. I don't fully trust It's On. I don't think we're going to be passing other runners mid-race. I don't fully trust No Stopping Me. I don't think the way ahead is going to be blocked in the last spurt. Even though we're planning on running 2 front runners, I just don't think it's going to happen that consistently. And everything else doesn't actually do anything, because it's either mile, medium, or a sprint recovery. We're choosing between Lucky 7 and Target in Sight, basically. And I think I'd rather take Lucky 7, because it's going to push our speed even higher, and our power even higher. I think this is an appropriate time to gamble. If we get Sparks, that's great. It wasn't the goal. This was a CM runner through and through. That's an A+ runner at 12,400. It's a little lower than I wanted it to be. I think we said our target was like 13,500, which probably is like the difference of having 2 gold skills and capping wit. But that is still our current tentative best CM runner. So we're going to give it the handshake. This is not going to be a team trials runner. We don't have the stamina to finish like half of the team trial races even for sprints. You can be undefeated. You can have a prestige title. And then let's also go and plug this into Umamusume just to make sure she actually finishes the race. Right, so we're back on Umamusume. We have 2 carbon copy Bakushins. They have the same stats across the board, except one of them has 220 stamina and one has 1200, because we're comparing whether we have enough stamina to finish the race. The skills don't matter. We're not looking at which one wins because of skills, we're looking at which one wins because of stamina, and there is no statistical difference between them. So this is perfect. This is guaranteed to finish the race. What if we have debuffers? What if somebody decides to bring, like, you know, fatigued front? It still doesn't matter. We are debuff proof. What if we go to 140? We're still mostly debuff proof. What if we go to 100? Now we start to become not debuff proof. But that is how little debuffs matter on this current CM track. So this Bakushin is good enough to finish. There is improvement. We could get turf to S. We could get better skills. We could have gotten sprint corners, for example. We could have gotten front runner savvy so that we have more wit. But this is a great place to start. I think for tomorrow, though, the more I'm thinking about Give Mummy a Hug, the more I'm going to swap it out, because I don't like that it requires somebody to be in front of us. I think I would rather have that be Victoria or Plancha. But we'll pop into Uma.moe next time and try and find an Elkond or Passat parent that is as good as... Oh, we forgot to level Marvelous Sunday. We gotta be double checking that more often. It's not gonna be the difference maker between like a good run and a great run. But that's still, like, there's margin for improvement there. Let's go do that now. Otherwise I'm gonna forget. Again. SR wit cards. Get over here. What does that get for us? Wow, it increases a lot. Yeah, we should have done that. Ah, well. It's okay. We're gonna need to run more aces. And then as far as what the plan is for everybody else, I actually don't really know. So we're gonna run Frontrunner Bakushin for sure. That's taken care of. I would like my actual ace, the ace that wins races, to be Late Surge or King Halo. And we are going to pile acceleration skills onto her. I'm talking Slick Surge, I'm talking Ignited Spirit Power, I'm talking Nimble Navigator, I'm talking Red Shift, because she'll actually be able to trigger it somewhat reliably as a late surger. I'm talking everything that's acceleration onto King Halo. But I don't think we have a good second frontrunner candidate for sprints. And the thing that we're looking for specifically is somebody who's either a natural frontrunner or a natural sprinter to minimize our spark investment. And ideally it would be a natural frontrunner, because I don't want to bring frontrunner sparks. So that really limits the pool of available trainees that we have to do that. We're looking at either Sprint Mayano, who really does not have any skills that cooperate with what we want to be doing in this race. Leader's Pride kind of does. Or we're looking at Front Daiwa, who's Sprint F. Those are really our 2 best options for coming up with a second frontrunner. As nice as it would be to run Front L, because then we get to benefit from her unique on her rather than being inherited, Sprint F plus Front E, when what you need is Turf S, is just too much of a spark investment for us to be able to do. And honestly, it's probably too much of a spark investment for most people to try and bother doing at all. There is also Taiki. Taiki Sprint A Front C, but shooting for victory doesn't do anything on this track. And I mean stone nothing. It triggers halfway through the final corner. The acceleration is gone by the time you hit late race. So as much as we like Taiki runs, and as nice as her growth rates are, there's no mechanical reason that we would want to bring Taiki specifically over bringing somebody like Daiwa or Mayano, who have uniques that actually, like, do something. So we're going to think about that in some later runs. But for now, let's go take care of our chores. Let's go check in on Club. We'll go do our Racing Carnival dailies for the day. We will spin our bingo wheel. We'll take care of our daily races. I forgot to do team trials runs this morning. And we probably should keep doing them. We're going to drink another carrot juice. I'm curious to see how much the retention line goes up over the weekend. Because right now, Racing Carnival is competing with team trials over where you spend your race points. So even though we're only 7,000 points above the retention line right now, I think there's a world where we get promoted to Class 6 next week, because people are going to be spending RP on Racing Carnival rather than on team trials. We'll see if that's actually true, but I think there's a chance. So that takes care of our one team trials run for the day. Let's go knock out our daily races. Sort by rating. Give me a strong Taiki shuttle. That was our third best runner of all time, that Bakushin. Interesting. And we failed the training. But there's room for improvement there. There's a lot of room for improvement. I may actually try running Teo in that deck instead of Vodka if I know that our speed training is going to be that good. We're about to run a lot of extra sprint races. I don't think I need to buy that. I should also be checking if Bakushin has potential levels. Hang on a second. Let's take a brief pause on Chores. Do you get anything useful? Turbo Sprint is okay. Huge Lead we might use. Countermeasure's really good. Can I get you to 4? No, I need Sprint Shoes. Son of a... You know what? After the run tomorrow, we'll do one more Bakushin run tomorrow, and she will be at 105, because we're going to run a bunch of extra sprint races. I think she should be at potential 4, though, to grab countermeasure, because that's useful late race acceleration, and it's the kind of thing that can make Plan X a little bit cheaper. Alright, let's go to... I think I clicked on the Scout tab. No, I hit Racing Carnival, okay. So Racing Carnival, we just need to do these 4 and then do a challenge race. So we'll do Grass Wonder, and for the love of God, remember this is a 1,600 meter mile. So you need to pick like a mile runner. Your Taiki's Mile S. Just go with it. You're only here for completion. I haven't won this. Oh yeah, this is the one where we threw it away because we ran Tachyon and we didn't actually win it. So we do have to watch this one. I mean, I know I could skip it, but like, if you're gonna watch it, you might as well watch it. You know? Well, I know at any rate. Ace Chaser Savvies are nice. Suzuka's gonna be in the lead here, so we don't have to worry about position keep. Now you have to worry about our position keep, but we don't have to worry about like getting nominated to be the front runner. That's also a wasted mile Maven because it triggered while we were in pace down. This is points farming though. We might actually hit a second pace down here if we're not careful. Yeah, I think everybody just hit one. But pace down should be ending now. I don't know if we have any skills left to activate. We blew our whole load in the first half of the race, and now we have nothing left in our clip. At least as far as I remember. I don't know what else this Taiki has. She does need to make like one pass here to hit shooting for victory. Which she will do. Second curvature trigger, sure. We're gonna be gone. We're going to vanish into the distance. Goodbye. It's been nice seeing you. See ya. Good race. Dude, shooting for victory is crazy on the tracks where it's good. What a neat runner. 505 points before the victory is gonna be like 1,200 points. Holy cow. Yeah, 12-10. Man, I wish he was good on this sprint track. We're not going to do a career. We don't have time for another career. Let's go. Oh, I have to do a challenge base, I guess, yeah. Extreme challenge. Okay, where is the Daiwa? Ooh, but it's a 1600 mile. Ooh, okay, so who's going to be better? This Daiwa Scarlet that has 10% to all stats, or this Taiki Shuttle that is a machine on a 1600 track where we can nail our unique activation? I think it's got to be Taiki. Like, the 10% stats bonus basically brings this Daiwa up to where Taiki is already, but we're missing Mile S, and I think the skills are worse. So this is still going to be a Taiki Shuttle angle. Number 3 favorite. Have you looked at my stats? I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be so filled with hubris, but, like, she demolished the last race. I know it's extreme difficulty and all that, but still. Let's see how we do. We're both base chasers, so we should be able to keep an eye on each other. Oh, maybe she's a late surger. Never mind. This is going to be a pace down. Maybe not. No, there it is. But that should be the last pace down. And then everything else is just bonus. Well, good curvature. We're going to pass runner 7 here. Let's see if we can keep runner 5 in our back pocket so that we can trigger our... Sorry, not runner 5, it's Suzuka. Let's see if we can leave Suzuki in our back pocket here so that we can trigger our unique off of her. She's faster than me? There's no way. She's actually faster than me. Not only is she faster than me, she's faster than L. No, she's not faster than me. Great Triumphant Pulse Trigger. Extreme difficulty. I was never worried. She's so good. I'm so glad I spent my selector ticket on her. You know what? Ogre probably would have done the same thing. Marzensky probably would have done the same thing. But still, she's crazy with it. I really don't feel like I need to spread stats around to anybody else, or sparks around to anybody else. I guess technically we could get some onto this L. You aren't a horrible parent, but... I don't know, I just like Taiki. I'm gonna have her keep doing her thing. And then the rest of these we should be able to skip. Yeah, we've won this one already. So that takes care of that. Now, the next 2 are miles, which means we probably need to pull out the Daiwa that has the Racing Carnival spark on her. Because C medium is a little sketchy. So let's have Daiwa do these. We could... This is actually maybe an opportunity to get a spark onto L. No. Because I think... If she has Carnival bonus 1 and she wins a race, doesn't it upgrade? And then we use her as a parent again? I don't remember how it works. No, because these are just level 1s. Yeah, that's right. Challenge gauge is full again. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old woman? It's going to be a Taiki Shuttle angle for a mile track. I would like to consume RP. I'm going to need to use 2 of these because we have 1 more race after this. Good. 2,500. And then special week win. Oh, spread the love. Give somebody else some sparks. You know how to run mediums. You can do this. There we go. A10. So that is all of our dailies done. Let's go ahead and grab all of our rewards. We do get carrot jelly refills from this, but who knows? I might need those later, so I'm not going to be like, oh, let's spend them like they're going out of style. Although, depending on how long this event runs, we may need to do a few extra down here. But we'll see how we do on point farming. And then we're at 14,480. So we are a little ways off of getting the Rainbow Crystal Shard, which I think is the big thing we're chasing after. Gold Crystal Shard would be nice. Trainee Scout tickets don't have a ton of value. Support card Scout tickets don't have a ton of value. The star pieces would be okay, especially for the runners that we don't have. I think we're on an okay trajectory to get most of these rewards right now, and if we're not, on the last day of the festival, we can just grind them over and over again until we do have enough. So, I think we're looking pretty good in that angle. That should be all of our dailies. So let's grab the stuff that we got for logging in. Let's grab all of our daily rewards. We've completed 45 career playthroughs, and we've won 50 G3s. We've progressed training the trainer for some reason. What did I buy? Oh, I got the epithet for maxing speed, because I'd never gotten it before. That's what it was. And then we'll go spin the bingo wheel, and we'll wrap up. But I would say that was a fairly successful pilot run for thinking about what we want to do for the upcoming CM. So we're gonna do another ace run tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, for those of you keeping track of when the video goes out versus when I actually record the video. And then Sunday, we're gonna do a little bit of parent farming that will probably naturally dovetail with building some of our Racing Carnival sparks, because Racing Carnival sparks are basically parent farming on a micro scale. So that's the rough trajectory of what to keep an eye out for the next couple days. If you're looking forward to that, do make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video. Lets me know that you are still enjoying the Uma playthrough and that I should keep making them. And if you have any questions about the upcoming CM, strategy tips for me, and thinking about how to build runners or meta calls of your own, drop it down in the comments and let me know. But until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.